I never thought I'd kill for family, but when Evelyn pried open my safe and snatched every last bill of that dirty $500,000, she didn't just steal my lifeline, she handed the feds my head on a silver platter. All because she'd framed me for her own sins 5 years ago.
Now,
in this twisted hell of a body swap courtesy of some black market neurotech her Wall Street cronies peddled, I'm staring back at her from across the mirror. Her perfect Botox smooth face twisted into my vengeful snarl, ready to drag her empire down brick by blood-soaked brick. And the kicker? She still thinks she's the victim, whispering prayers to a god who long ago wrote her off, while I plot the kind of payback that makes Dante's Inferno look like a beach read. They say blood is thicker than water, but in my family, it's always been thinner than the lies we told to survive. Evelyn and I grew up in the shadow of Dad's empty promises, a chain-smoking hustler from Queens who peddled knockoff Rolexes out of the back of a rusted Chevy until the cancer ate him hollow. Mom bailed when I was 8, chasing some dream of reinvention in Vegas, leaving us with a 2-bedroom walk-up that smelled like regret and ramen. Evelyn, 3 years my senior, was the golden girl, valedictorian, sorority queen at NYU, the one who married into money with a hedge fund prick named Harlan who summered in the Hamptons and wintered in the Caymans.
me?
Lillian the fuck up, the bartender slinging Manhattans in a dive off Wall Street, nursing a law degree I never used because who needs justice when life's already a rigged game? It started unraveling 5 years back, in the sticky heat of a July night when the feds kicked in my door. I was half asleep in my Hell's Kitchen studio, the kind with roaches that paid rent on time, when the battering ram turned my world to splinters. FBI, hands up. Sweetheart, they barked, cuffs biting into my wrists like lovers' teeth gone wrong. They found nothing, no drugs, no guns, just a stack of utility bills and a fridge with more beer than food. But the real bomb? A duffel bag in my closet, stuffed with $500,000 in crisp hundreds, traced back to a Ponzi scheme that had bilked retirees out of their nest eggs. Wire transfers, shell companies, the works. And guess whose name was on every digital footprint?
Mine.
I took the fall like a good sister. Evelyn called me that night, voice trembling over the prison line.
Lil.
I swear, it wasn't supposed to go down like this. Harlan.
He pressured me.
Said it was just moving numbers around. Bullshit. She'd cooked the books at his firm, siphoning funds to feed her coke habit and his mistresses. When the heat came, she pinned it on me, the disposable sibling, the one without a pedigree or a prenup. Faked emails, forged signatures, even a burner phone in my name pinging towers near the drop sites. I could have ratted her out, but family, right? I pled guilty to lesser charges, did 18 months in Danbury, emerging with tattoos I didn't want and trust one couldn't afford to lose. Parole came with strings, community service, a curfew, and that safe. Locked in my new gig as a financial consultant for ex-cons, irony's a bitch, I squirreled away every cent from odd jobs, tips, whatever. But the real seed money? A ghost payout from an anonymous source, laundered clean as a whistle but tagged with federal trackers. GPS nanotech in the bills. Invisible ink on the wrappers. The kind of shit the Treasury uses to nail cartel mules. I didn't touch it, it was my ace. My just-in-case for when Evelyn's house of cards finally toppled. Little did I know, she'd come sniffing first. It was a Tuesday, the kind of gray November day that makes New York feel like a concrete coffin. I'd crashed at her Upper East Side brownstone after a bender. Harlan was out of town, schmoozing senators in D.C. And Evelyn needed her little sis for emotional support.
Or so she said.
We polished off a bottle of Veuve Clicquot, her manicured nails tracing the rim of her glass as she vented about the firm's latest audit. They're circling like vultures.
Lil.
Harlan's on edge. What if they dig too deep? I nodded, playing the loyal fool, while my gut twisted. Deep? They'd have to excavate through her skeletons first. She passed out around 2. Silk robe askew on the leather sectional, snoring softly like a kitten with claws. I slipped upstairs to the guest room, but sleep wouldn't come. Instead, I paced, replaying the safe combo in my head. Her birthday, 071485. Because why not make betrayal personal? It was in the wine cellar, disguised as a panel behind the Bordeaux racks. A wedding gift from Harlan's paranoid ass. I'd stashed it there months ago, during one of my visits, swearing to myself it was leverage, not theft. Dawn broke with a crash that shattered the illusion. I bolted downstairs, heart hammering like a jackrabbit on meth, to find Evelyn on her knees amid the rubble of shattered bottles. The safe door yawned open, a black maw vomiting green stacks onto the Persian rug. Her eyes, wide as saucers, locked on mine. Lil, what the fuck is this? She gasped, fingers trembling as she pawed at a bundle. The tracker beacons dormant, but deadly. I froze. The air thick with the tang of spilled Merlot and something fouler, panic. Evie.
Don't touch that. It's
not what you think. Lies tumbled out. Half-formed excuses about a client settlement, a windfall from Dad's old cronies. But she wasn't buying it. Her face hardened, that sorority mask cracking to reveal the viper beneath. Bullshit. This is drug money, isn't it? Or worse. After everything I've done for you, fought for your parole, got you this job, you're gonna drag me down? She snatched a fistful, stuffing it into a Louis Vuitton tote like it was Black Friday at Bergdorf's. Stop, Evie. Listen, it's tagged. Feds have eyes on every serial number. My voice cracked, pleading with the sister who'd once braided my hair and shared secrets under the covers. But she laughed, a brittle sound that echoed off the vaulted ceilings. Tagged? Please. You're paranoid from the joint. Harlan's got lawyers who eat the DOJ for breakfast. She zipped the bag, slinging it over her shoulder, and breezed past me toward the door. I'll handle this.
for us.
Stay put.
Lil.
And don't breathe a word. She left in a swirl of Chanel No. 5 and deceit. The Bentley purring to life in the garage below. I sank to the floor, shards of glass biting my palms, blood mixing with the wine like a bad omen. Handle it? She was jetting to the Caymans, laundering it through Harlan's offshore webs, oblivious to the digital noose tightening around her manicured neck. And mine, by extension. Because when those trackers lit up, and they would, the feds wouldn't care whose hands held the cash. They'd come for the source, me, the convicted felon with a grudgingly clean record. That night, rage bloomed in my chest like black mold on drywall. I couldn't call the cops. That'd be suicide. No. This needed something sharper. More personal. That's when I remembered Jax, the ghost from my prison yard days. A wiry ex-hacker with a sideline in experimental neuroshit. He'd whispered about it once. Over contraband smokes. Body swaps.
Lil.
Not magic. Science. Black market neural remappers. Swap your mind into hers. Puppet the bitch from the inside. I'd laughed it off as jailhouse fantasy.
Now?
It was my ticket to hell. First class. I met him in a derelict warehouse off the Gowanus. The air reeking of rust and rat piss. Hudson's ghosts moaning through the cracks. Jack's looked the same, tattoos snaking up his neck like barbed wire. Eyes darting like he expected the feds any second. $5,000. Up front, he grunted, sliding a sleek case across a crate. Inside, a neural crown, wires like veins pulsing with illicit promise. It's Russian tech, smuggled via dark web. Maps your synapses onto hers. Overrides the host for 72 hours. Side effects? Nausea. Blackouts. Maybe a stroke if you're unlucky. You in. I wired the cash from a burner account, my hands steady as a surgeon's. All the way. We synced it that night, electrodes biting scalp. A jolt like lightning kissing bone. The world dissolved into static. Evelyn's face flickering on a monitor as the algorithm bridged our brains. Initiate on my signal, Jack said. Target her when she's vulnerable. Alone. Vulnerable. The word tasted like ash. Back at the brownstone, I waited, nursing a flask of bourbon that burned less than the betrayal. Evelyn returned at midnight, toed in toe, reeking of private jet leather and sheep victory. It's done, Lil, she crowed, collapsing onto the couch. Harlan's contacts buried it deep. We're golden. She hugged me, oblivious, her pulse thrumming under my fingertips like a countdown. I slipped the crown under her pillow that night, synced via app while she slept. At 3 a.m., I hit enter. The swap hit like a freight train, nausea roiling, vision doubling, then snapping into focus. I blinked, and there she was, Evelyn's reflection in the vanity mirror. Her high cheekbones mine now, her wedding ring heavy on her finger. I flexed, feeling the unfamiliar strength of Pilates-toned limbs, the subtle sway of C-cups I'd always envied. Hello, sister, I whispered, her voice a silken noose around my own throat. But this was just the fracture. The real break? When I logged into her phone and saw the text to Harlan. Lil's stash is ours now. Burn the evidence. Our? She'd played me from jump. The safe not a secret, but bait she'd planted, knowing I'd crack under the feds' glare again. Deep breath.
Lil.
Time to rewrite the script. Wearing Evelyn's skin felt like slipping into a designer straitjacket, tailored to perfection but laced with poison. Her mornings were a ritual of green juices and soul cycle, the kind of self-care that screamed, I deserve this, while the world burned. I mimicked it flawlessly, down to the way she tossed her highlights and cooed at the barista, extra foam. Darling, make it sing. But inside, I was a storm, Lillian's fury churning against the walls of her polished facade. The neural crown hummed faintly at my temple, a constant reminder, 48 hours left before the override faded, and she snapped back. None the wiser. Or so the tech promised. Jax's warnings echoed, glitches, feedback loops, the risk of permanent entanglement.
Fuck it.
Revenge wasn't a spa day. First order, reconnaissance. Harlan's firm, Apex Capital, loomed like a glass monolith in Midtown, all chrome and arrogance, where billionaires played God with other people's pensions. I strode in as Evelyn, badge beeping me past security, the receptionist simpering. Mrs. Voss, you look radiant today, radiant. If only she knew the rot beneath. Her office was a corner suite with Hudson views, Walls lined with framed accolades and a minibar stocked with single malt that whispered temptations. I locked the door, booted her laptop, and dove into the abyss. The files were a digital graveyard, spreadsheets of ghost accounts, emails laced with code words like Pacific Transfer and Eagle's Nest. There it was, the Ponzi I'd eaten time for. Not Harlan's brainchild, but Evelyn's. She'd greenlit the scheme, luring in marks with her charm offensive at charity galas, then routing the sucker's cash through my fabricated aliases. A hidden folder, password protected with our childhood pet's name, R.I.P. Mr. Whiskers. Spilled the beans. Audio logs of her coaching me via burner. Planting the duffel in my apartment herself.
Lil. Just hold it for a week.
Trust me.
Trust.
The word curdled in my borrowed throat. Deeper still, the safe money. She'd known about the trackers, hell. She'd tipped the feds anonymously post-theft, framing it as my relapse to throw them off her trail. Text to a DOJ contact. Agent Ruiz? It's Voss. Got a lead on that Danbury girl, Lillian Hale. She's hoarding. Ruiz. I memorized the name. A bullet for later. The $500,000 wasn't just leverage, it was her insurance policy. A way to bury me twice over if I ever wised up. Rage boiled. But I played cool. Midday meeting with the partners. A circle jerk of Brooks Brothers suits puffing cigars and pontificating on disruptive innovation. Harlan dominated, his silver fox charm masking the predator gleam. Evie. Darling. Thoughts on the Q4 projections. He squeezed my knee under the table. Possessive. Oblivious. I smiled her smile. Voice honeyed venom. Optimistic. But let's hedge against. Family liabilities. His brow furrowed. But the room chuckled, toasting to plausible deniability. Lunch was power kale at La Bernardine, where I cornered her, my assistant, a mousy thing named Tara with aspirations and a crush. Tara. Sweetie. Pulled a Ruiz file. Discreetly. She blinked. Loyalty warring with curiosity. Mrs.
Voss. That's.
Classified. I leaned in. Evelyn's perfume a weapon. Classified means we're family here. Do it. Or update your LinkedIn. The file arrived by courier that afternoon. Agent Marcus Ruiz. Organized Crime Division. With a history of accommodations for high-profile informants. Evelyn's pet cop. Greased with apex retainers. Afternoon blurred into scheming. I wired a fraction of the tracked cash, $50K, to a Cayman drop, activating the beacons like flares in the night. Let the feds chase ghosts while I sowed chaos from within. Harlan texted, "Dinner at Per Se? Miss you."
Babe.
I replied with emojis, hearts and wine glasses, then deleted the thread. Miss her? He'd miss the alimony more. Evening fell like a guillotine. Back at the brownstone. I rifle her closets, Versace gowns for galas, lingerie that screamed midlife crisis. But the real find? A locked drawer in the master bath. Combo her and Harlan's anniversary. Inside, vials of something crystalline, labeled Enhancex, and a ledger of payoffs. Not coke, experimental nootropics. Black market smart drugs to keep the wolves at bay in boardrooms. And there, buried in the margins, notes on Neural Bridge project. Jax hadn't lied. This was Apex funded. A DARPA offshoot for corporate espionage. Mind swaps for mergers. Identity theft on steroids. Evelyn wasn't just a thief. She was the architect. testing it on low-level marks before scaling to rivals. The betrayal cut deeper than the original frame job. She'd swapped bodies before, not mine, but a whistleblower's, erasing his testimony in a suicide, that apex pinned on depression. Power. Pure and poisonous. I pocketed a vial. The Crown's timer ticking, 36 hours. Time to escalate. Night out as Evelyn, a fundraiser at the Met. Black tie vampires sucking donor blood dry. Harlan preened, arm around my waist, introducing me to senators and CEOs like a trophy. My better half. The brains behind our Asia pivot. I laughed, clinking glasses with a venture capitalist who eyed me like dessert. Tell me, Evelyn, what's the secret to staying so sharp? I toasted with the vial's dust on my tongue, a chemical buzz sharpening Lillian's edge. Family secrets, darling. And a little madness. Mid-gala, I slipped away to the cloister's wing, dialing Jax from her phone. It's live. But I need an extension, 48 more hours. His laugh crackled static. Greedy.
Lil.
That's $10,000 extra. And it risks merge shock. Your essences bleed together. Merge? The thought chilled, waking up with her memories, her cravings. But hesitation was death. Wire it. Re-entry. Harlan cornered me in the coat room. Breath scotch sweet. You've been distant.
Evie.
That sister of yours, Trouble? Trouble. The irony burned. I traced his jaw, her fingers lingering. Lil's fine.
But you.
You've got shadows. Harlan. Ruiz called today. His face paled. A crack in the armor. What did he say? I leaned close, whispering, everything ends. Tonight. He shoved me against the fur coats, lips crashing in a kiss that tasted like desperation. I let it happen, buying time, then kneed him, subtly. Evelyn's yoga flex, sending him crumpling with a wheeze. Bitch, he gasped. I straightened her skirt. Voice ice. You have no idea. Back home. The safe's echo haunted me. I dreamed in fragments, her childhood fears bleeding into mine. Our shared bruises from Dad's rages. The swap wasn't clean. Tendrils of Evelyn snaked through my thoughts, urging mercy. He's your brother-in-law.
Lil.
Family. I woke sweating. The Crown's glow accusatory. Dawn brought clarity. Mercy was for suckers.
Today.
I hit Harlan where it hurt, his empire. Infiltration complete. The fracture widened. But the real storm? When the feds knocked. Not on my door, but hers, trackers pinging from the Cayman's wire. Agent Ruiz. In the flesh. Badge gleaming like judgment. Mrs. Voss, we need to talk about your sisters. Inheritance. The knock came at 9:17 a.m. Sharp as a scalpel through silk. I was mid-sip of Evelyn's oat latte, scrolling her feeds, curated lies of brunches and philanthropy, when the intercom buzzed like a hornet's nest. FBI.
Ma'am.
Open up. Heart slamming against her ribcage. I smoothed the cashmere sweater, channeling her unflappable poise. Play the part.
Lil.
Denial is your new religion. Agent Ruiz was shorter in person. A bulldog in a cheap suit, flanked by a stone-faced partner with a tablet glowing like an inquisitor's torch. They breezed past the foyer, eyes cataloging the opulence, Warhol prints, crystal decanters, the faint stain on the rug from last night's spill. Mrs. Boss, Ruiz drawled, Jersey roots thickening his vowels. Mind if we chat? About a wire from Grand Cayman. $50,000. To be precise. Traced to funds under federal watch. I perched on the sectional, crossing her legs with aristocratic grace. The neural hum a low buzz in my skull. 24 hours left. Plenty for the circus. Agent Ruiz? I've heard the name. Harlan mentioned you, consultant. Right? On compliance. His eyes narrowed. A flicker of unease.
Good.
Evelyn's grease had bought silence. Now it bought time. The partner, Agent Hale. Irony's cruel joke. Flash the tablet. Transaction logs. Serial numbers matching the safe's ghosts. These bills were seized in a 2020 bust.
Ma'am.
Your sister, Lillian Hale, was the custodian. Care to explain the reunion? I laughed. Evelyn's trill cutting the tension like glass. Lillian?
Oh.
Honey. She's family. But drama follows her like a bad dye job. She crashed here last week, hysterical about some ex-con windfall. I told her to lawyer up, but you know Lil, impulsive. If there's a mix-up, blame her baggage. Ruiz leaned in, breath mints masking last night's pastrami. Mix-up? The IP on the transfer pings your home network. And we've got CCTV from the airport, you. Boarding the jet with a Louis Vuitton tote. Bulky.
Bulky.
The word hung. Accusatory. I met his gaze. Her blue eyes weaponized. Me? Darling. I was in spin class. Check the logs, Soul Cycle. 8 a.m. Thursday. As for the tote, groceries from Dean and DeLuca. Caviar for Harlan's return. They pressed, circling like sharks scenting chum. But Evelyn's armor held. I fed them half-truths, Lil's desperation, a loan she'd begged for, my concern as the big sister. By the time they left, empty-handed but suspicious, the Crown's timer mocked me, 22 hours. Harlan burst in an hour later, face thunderous, slamming his briefcase like a gavel. What the fuck?
Evie?
Ruiz in our living room? You said the money was clean. I turned, slow as a noose tightening. Her smile a blade. Clean? Like the Ponzi you two ran through my name? Or the whistleblower you swapped into oblivion? His confusion was genuine, or was it? The swap's bleed made doubt a fog. What are you on about? Neural shit again? Flush it. That crap's for lab rats. I stepped closer, voice dropping to Lillian's gravel under her silk. It's me, Harlan.
Lil.
Your disposable sister-in-law. Courtesy of your wife's pet project. His laugh died midway, eyes widening as I recited details only I should know. The tattoo on his ass from a Vegas bachelor bash. The offshore slush fund coded Evie's treats. He backed away, hand fumbling for his phone. You're insane. Security. I lunged, vile dust fueling a surge of borrowed adrenaline, tackling him onto the rug. The struggle was brutal, his bulk against her lithe frame, fists glancing off marble. You framed me, I snarled, pinning his throat with her forearm. 18 months for your lies, he gurgled, face purpling, then twisted free, landing a slap that split her lip. Blood, her blood, tasted coppery.
Real.
Evie.
Stop.
This ain't you. But it was me. Unraveling. The reckoning wasn't just his, it was ours. I let him scramble up, dialing 911 with trembling fingers. Intruder. My wife.
She's.
Not herself. Cops swarmed minutes later. Tasers drawn, restraining me in Evelyn's body as paramedics jabbed sedatives. Harlan spun the yarn. Episode drugs? Maybe. Call her shrink. They bought it, hauling me to Bellevue for observation. The psych ward was a beige purgatory, fluorescent hum drilling into my skull. Strapped to a bed, for drip numbing the edges. I watched the clock. 18 hours. Nurses cooed. Mrs. Voss. You're safe now. Safe. The word mocked as Evelyn's memories flooded, childhood hugs. Shared grief. The night she'd confessed the frame job over tears. I had to.
Lil.
Harlan would have left me broke. Had to. Like betrayal was biology. Escape was a fever dream, feigning calm, charming the night shift with her charisma. Just a migraine.
Doll.
Let me call my husband. Phone in hand, I texted Jax. Extraction. Now. He arrived at dawn, posing as a consultant, slipping me a booster dose, liquid fire through the veins, extending the swap to 36. We bolted, sirens wailing in the distance, her Bentley screaming through traffic toward the Gowanus lair. Jax's warehouse was a mad scientist's wet dream, servers whirring, screens flickering with brainwave readouts. You're merging, Lil, he warned, recalibrating the crown. Her impulses greed. Fear, they're sticking. Fight it.
Fight.
I nodded, but the pull was magnetic. Evelyn's voice in my head. End this. For us.
Us.
The lie that started it all. No time for doubt. Harlan's empire was the target. Using her credentials, I hacked Apex's servers, firewalls crumbling under Jax's scripts. Emails leaked to Reuters, Ponzi details, Ruiz payoffs, neural bridge horrors. Stocks tanked mid-morning. Headlines screaming, hedge fund heist, Voss empire implodes. Harlan called. Voice shattered. Evie, what have you done? I answered in her tones, laced with my venom. Payback. Asshole. From the sister you buried. The climax built like a nor'easter. Feds raided Apex at noon, Ruiz leading the charge. His face a mask of betrayal as cuffs clicked on Harlan. Evelyn's phone blew up, board fleeing. Assets frozen. The $450,000 remainder seized from the Caymans. I watched from Jax's monitors, a ghost in her shell, as her world burned. But the real high? Confronting her true self. With 12 hours left, I drove to the brownstone, crown pulsing like a migraine. Harlan was there, packing shredders, eyes wild. Evie, thank God, the leaks. It's over. I slammed the door, locking it.
Not Evie. Lil.
He froze, then lunged, desperation's last gasp. We grappled, her body betraying with unfamiliar weakness, his blows landing like hammers. You crazy bitch, he roared, fingers clawing for the crown. I twisted free, grabbing a letter opener from the desk, sharp, silver. Wedding gift banal.
For the Ponzi. For the swap that killed that guy.
For me. He charged, I thrust. The blade sank shallow, blood blooming on his Oxford shirt, but enough to drop him.
Gasping.
Controversial? Hell yes, mercy killing or justice. The line blurred as sirens wailed closer. Sirens wailed like banshees as I stood over Harlan. The letter opener slick in her hand, his blood pooling like spilled secrets on the hardwood. He wheezed, eyes pleading.
Lil. Evie. Don't. Don't.
The word fractured me. Evelyn's essence surging through the neural bridge like floodwater, her love for him. Twisted and true, clashing with my hate. The crown's timer blinked. 6 hours. Enough to end it. Or enough to run. I dropped the blade, stepping back as black and white screeched to a halt outside. It's over. Harlan. For both of us. Cops burst in. Guns drawn. Mistaking the scene for domestic carnage. Hands up. Drop it. I complied. Evelyn's poised a shield. Spinning the yarn as they cuffed me. He attacked. The stress. The scandals. I defended. They bought the hysteria. Paramedics staunching his wound while detectives nodded sympathetically. Mrs. Voss. We'll need a statement downtown. Downtown was a fluorescent limbo. Interrogation rooms smelling of stale coffee and despair. Ruiz faced me across the table. Badge dented from the Apex raid. His informant empire in tatters. Evelyn Voss. Or should I say, Hale, the trackers, the leaks you're doing? I met his stare, her eyes masking my smirk. Agent, you've got it backward. My sister's the ghost here. Framed me once, now karma's collecting. He slid photos across. Harlan airlifted. Stable but singing to save his skin. Apex gutted. SSC swarming like locusts. Karma? This is conspiracy. Wire fraud. Assault at identity fuckery. And you're looking at federal time. Identity. The word hung. The swap's glitch flickering. Evelyn's memories overlaying mine. Her guilt a whisper. He's lying.
Lil.
Ruiz set us up. Bleed intensified. Doubt crept. Was Harlan the villain? Or Ruiz the puppet master? Hours dragged. Lawyers circling like vultures. Harlan's firm, irony, sprang me on bail. But the real breakout was Jax's text. Crown's failing. Extract now. Or permanent merge.
Permanent.
Waking forever as her. Lillian's fire dimmed to Evelyn's flicker.
No.
I slipped the holding cell at dusk, bribing a guard with her jewelry stash, vanishing into the subway's underbelly. The Gowanus loomed, Jax frantic amid sparking consoles. You're at 80% overlap.
Lil.
Her psyche's dominant, greed winning. He strapped me in, reverse sync initiating. Volts arcing like Judgment Day. Pain bloomed, white hot. Essences tearing apart. Evelyn's voice screamed in my head. Stop. I did it for us, for Mom. For Dad's legacy. Legacy. The lie that bound us. Swap reversed in a convulsion. My body scarred.
Tattooed.
Mine, slumping as hers flickered on a secondary rig. Comatose. Jax unplugged.
Grim.
She's out. Docs say reversible. But the damage. Memories shared now.
Shared.
I nodded. The crown's remnants buzzing in my veins. Evelyn's cravings lingered. Coke itch. Harlan's touch, but so did her secrets. The twist hit like a gut punch en route to freedom. A burner buzzed. Ruiz. Hale, call off the dogs. It was me, the frame, the tip. Evelyn was clean. I blackmailed her into the Ponzi to nail Voss. You're safe? Bait I planted. Trackers my insurance. Blackmail. The truth inverted, not sister against sister, but cop against kin. Evelyn had taken the fall for me, feeding me half-lies to protect the web. She swapped to save you.
Kid.
Neural Bridge was my op, test bed for witness protection.
But you.
You burned it all. Rage flipped to nausea. I'd avenged the wrong devil, torching innocence in the crossfire. Harlan, Ruiz's Patsy, bleeding out truths in ICU. Apex, a house of cards Ruiz had stacked. And Evelyn, my betrayer, my shield. Controversial decisions echoed. Was the stab mercy? Or murder? The leaks justice? Or jihad? I hit the streets, night swallowing me whole. $50,000 from the safe, untracked remnants, burning a hole in my duffel. Feds hunted, but New York was a labyrinth for the lost. Jax vanished. Crown destroyed. But the merge lingered, her elegance in my stride. My grit in her dreams, if she woke. Months blurred, underground gigs. Ghosting through motels from Jersey to Philly. Headlines faded. Voss scandal, FBI agent indicted in RICO bust. Harlan walked, a ghost of himself, suing Ruiz into oblivion. Evelyn stirred in a private clinic, Harlan at her bedside. Their empire ashes but bonds reforged in fire. I watched from afar, a shadow in a diner booth, nursing black coffee. Happy ending? Bullshit. She woke fractured. Memories a mosaic of us, my rage, her remorse. Letters came, scrawled in her looping script. Lil, forgive or finish it, debatable. I burned them, but kept one line. Blood's thicker? Always.
Now.
In a rain-lashed motel, off I-95. Crowns echo fading. I plot the coda. Ruiz rots in Supermax. Harlan rebuilds on Evelyn's amnesia-fueled grace. Me, free, but hollow. Revenge's bill comes due, not in bars, but echoes. Was it worth it? Ask the mirror. Lillian stares back, but Evelyn's smile ghosts the corners. The end? Open, like a safe left ajar. Family's the ultimate heist, steal your soul, leave you counting ghosts.